Hey, Jack Criss here with Bamsouth.com and Bamvision, and our weekly segment, Ask Bobby Gill, with Mr. Bobby Gill, attorney with Gill, Ladner, and Priest in Ridgeland. Bobby, good morning to you.
Morning, Jack.
Let's talk about contingency fees, what that means, and pricing when it comes to attorney cost. A lot of people think they can't afford an attorney, but there are different factors involved. Could you speak upon that for us?
Sure, Jack. In most of our injury cases, we handle those on a contingency fee basis, which means that the client doesn't pay us any fees unless we collect for them, which is a great system for the clients because it allows them to get an attorney without paying money on the front end. And then if there's no recovery, they don't owe any attorney fees whatsoever.
Well, then how are you compensated for that? I mean, I'm just asking you as a business person.
Well, as a business person, we're compensated because we make recoveries for clients. And when we make a recovery, whether that be through a settlement or whether that be through a verdict, then we get a portion of the recovery that is made.
What rights or what should a potential client ask any law firm, whether it's yours or any other firm, before going into an agreement when it comes to cost?
Well, first of all, they should be clear on the percentage that they're going to pay. Lots of the contracts are tiered. In other words, we get a certain percentage if the case is settled, and then a different percentage if the case is filed and the case is tried. So the clients need to be clear on what they pay, on what expenses are going to be coming out of the settlement. But at the end of the day, before we settle the case, the clients know what their bottom line is going to be. And that's really what matters to the client. It's not what the gross amount of the settlement is. It's what they're going to end up with in their pockets that matters.
Do different attorneys charge different hourly fees?
Absolutely. Hourly fees vary depending on the experience of the attorney, depending on the location of the attorney. Hourly fees start maybe at $150 an hour and can go up to say $1,000 an hour, depending on where you are, depending on what type of case you have, the complexity of the case, those types of things.
And you're a gentleman, Bobby. We all know that. But if you watch any television at all, especially daytime television, there's a plethora of commercials from firms, not only local but also out of state, who are coming in and asking for, call us, we'll handle it, we'll do this. What advice would you give to people who see these commercials and might be possibly swayed?
Well, the commercials can sometimes be misleading. A lot of the attorneys that advertise in the state of Mississippi don't even live in the state of Mississippi. They make you seem like they're your neighbor and they're right here to help you. But if you research it, what you find is they're not even living here in Mississippi. So that's one thing you need to look at. Is your attorney somebody that you can talk to? Is it somebody that's local? If you have a question, can you go to their office? Can you see them? That's very important in picking an attorney, because you need an attorney that's going to look out for your best interest and that's going to understand your case. You don't need to call in and talk to a call center when you've got a question about your case.
Bobby, I want to go back to one more question about fees. If you're at a certain point and the money's really running up, do you sit down and talk with your client and say, look, we're going to have to either pursue this from a different angle, or you're very upfront about fees and pricing as you go along, right, during the process?
Oh, absolutely. And on a contingency fee matter, you know what that is on the front end.
Okay.
On an hourly fee matter, if I see that it's going to take a lot more work than we originally anticipated, then we would sit down with the client and explain that. And we would decide, how do we want to handle this? How do we want to proceed? And we may take a different approach to it just to save the client money.
Finally, why do you think it is important for a client or potential client to deal with a local attorney as opposed to somebody out of state?
Well, first of all, laws are different state by state, and even though an attorney may have a license here in Mississippi, that doesn't necessarily mean that they commonly practice here. they're not familiar with the courts, they're not familiar with the judges. It's always best to have someone local to handle your case, even if more than one attorney is involved. Sometimes you have a local attorney and you have attorneys from out of state that work with those attorneys on the case. But it's always good to have someone local who knows the local people, the local systems, the local courts.
Mr. Bobby Gill, Ask Bobby Gill on Bamsouth.com. Bobby, how do people contact you?
Well, they can contact us. They can call us at 601-352-5700. They can go to our website, which is getlegalpower.com, or they can just come by and see us. We're on Highway 51 in Ridgeland, right across the street from McDonald's, and we welcome walk-ins. Even if you don't have an appointment, you can just stop by and see us.
Mr. Bobby Gill, thank you so much. Gill, Ladner, and Priest, we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.